Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over the Olympic Lyonnais Reign and their run throughout the preliminary round of the NWSL 2020 Challenge Cup. I'll be going over each game they've played, the formation they've utilized, the players they've utilized, and just what I think we can learn from each game they've played so far, and how I think they're going to play in the quarterfinals. As always, timestamps will be in the description down below, so let's get started. The OL Reign played their first game against the Sky Blue FC, and they tied 0-0. They came out in a 4-3-3 formation with Casey Murphy, Kristen McNabb, Lauren Barnes, Alana Cook, Stephanie Cox, Allie Long, Rebecca Quinn, Shirley Cruz, Darian Jenkins, Jodie Taylor, and Bethany Balser all in the starting lineup. They found success in the wide channels when Darian Jenkins would pull wide or Bethany Balser would pull wide, and they would dribble inside, but the final piece of their game, the scoring aspect, wasn't there. I think their defense was very strong. Lauren Barnes and Alana Cook are both fantastic players. Kristen McNabb is fantastic, and Stephanie Cox is just a veteran in this league, and so I think they're very strong defensively, and that definitely showed in this game. They had 52.4% of the possession, and they outshot Sky Blue 13-5. And so one thing I wanted to point out is within their attack, they need to be much quicker on the ball. When you're around the 18 and you're passing outside the 18-yard box, these passes need to be quick. They need to be one touch. You need to know what you're going to do before you get the ball, and the players who are within the box need to be making runs that is distracting to the back line, because if none of this is happening and you're taking your time to try to wait for the opportunity to open up, Sky Blue's going to close in on you, or they're just going to sit back and wait for you to make the move. They didn't have a player like a Dabinia or a Lindsay Horan or Roosevelt who was creative enough to say, I'm going to break down this back line and I'm just going to take a chance. I'm going to take a shot from outside the 18. The chances they did have, they didn't capitalize on them either. And again, it's the first game back, but I was just expecting more from them based off of the players they had. I wanted to talk about two players. I think Bethany Balser is best when she plays as a center forward. To me, she's fantastic at hold-up play, but she's really good at distributing the ball in the final third, and she's really good at taking shots from outside the 18, and her vision in terms of the runs she makes is really good, and I think she's just best utilized in that number 10 position than I think she is on the wing. Crosses weren't on. Her skills in terms of 1v1 from the touchline weren't good either, and I just don't think she was being utilized to the best of her ability. And on the other side of the field, Darian Jenkins, while I do think that is her preferred spot and I do think she's best in that position, I don't think she's good enough technically to beat her defenders 1v1 without using her speed, because again, in the way that the Reign were playing, where they had possession around the 18-yard box, if you're 5 yards outside of the 18 towards the sideline and the defender is pressing you, you cannot beat them in that space that you have with speed. Now, you can beat them with quickness in terms of taking a quick touch around them and getting your cross off, but in terms of raw speed, in terms of your sprint, that's not going to beat the defender. There's not enough space to utilize that aspect of your game. And so I don't think that Darian Jenkins is technical enough to get the ball to face up with her defender and say, I'm going to beat you 1v1, take you in line and cross it, because we saw her get the ball taken from her a lot because she was trying to make a move and it just wasn't working out. Just in general, I wasn't impressed with the team chemistry. Now, when I go back and look at the lineup they came out with, they have a lot of players who have never played together, like Shirley Cruz and Alana Cook. They haven't played together, but in general, the core group of players I felt like should have been better, and I just wasn't impressed with them in terms of their game in the final third. In the second game, they played the Houston Dash, and they lost 2-0. They came out in a 4-5-1 formation with Casey Murphy, Kristen McNabb, Lauren Barnes, Amber Brooks, Taylor Smith, Allie Long, Darian Jenkins, Rosie White, Shirley Cruz, Yuka Momiki, and Bethany Balser all in the starting lineup. In the first 11 minutes, both teams were just trying to figure each other out, working with possession and trying long balls and trying different passes, and I don't think that the Reign necessarily found their rhythm in time to really establish any threatening chances before the Houston Dash could. They ended up getting scored on around the 11th minute. Casey Murphy was put under a lot of pressure from Shea Groom, which forced her to send the ball wide to Kristen McNabb, which first of all, that was the first mistake they made in this. Casey Murphy should have just sent the ball long. She shouldn't have tried to pass that. Kristen McNabb's in a position now where she's having to receive the ball in the air under immense pressure. She ends up having a touch that wasn't good enough to get around her defender, and the Houston Dash win the ball, plays it to Shea Groom, who flicks it onto Christy Mewis, who just passes it perfectly from the top of the box. Rachel Daly made a run outside, and it wasn't necessarily a flashy run, but her movement wide was enough to pull Lauren Barnes with her, because she's thinking, okay, maybe they're going to play it wide. That's not what they end up doing. And Amber Brooks is in a position now where she's like, okay, do I step to Shea Groom? Or do I step to Christine Mewis? And again, I don't think Casey Murphy could have saved that, but I think she could have prevented the build-up. In between the second goal they end up getting scored on, they definitely had opportunities. It was just the chemistry is not there in the final third, and it was very evident in the way that passes were off and the runs were off, and just in general, they didn't really seem to know what each other were going to be doing. Kristen McNabb got caught too far up. Rachel Daly ends up getting the ball from Sophie Schmidt in just acres of space, and she takes the ball inline, and she gets her head up, and she picks out her cross, sends it to Shea Groom, who's being marked by absolutely nobody, and Shea Groom just heads it into the goal. This goal is frustrating, but in general, I've gone back and watched it a handful of times, and I'm not sure who didn't mark. I don't know if Smith was in that situation supposed to slide over. I don't think she was in the wrong. I think it was either Allie Long who didn't drop, or it was Lauren Barnes who wasn't marking anybody. Somebody didn't mark, and this is just, we've seen this throughout this tournament where if you lose your mark, people are gonna take advantage of that, and she was so wide open. It was honestly surprising and shocking how she had that much time. I was genuinely shocked by this result. I mean, Houston came out very strong. You have to give them credit, but just based off of the personnel that the Reign have, I was expecting so much more out of them. The Reign played their third game against the Utah Royals, and they won 1-0. They came out in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Michelle Betos, Stephanie Cox, Amber Brooks, Alana Cook, Celia, Kristen McNabb, Danny Weatherholt, Darian Jenkins, Shirley Cruz, Jasmine Spencer, and Jody Taylor all in the starting lineup. My initial thoughts in the first half were too much kicking, the ball was in the air way too much, and when the ball is bouncing around and touches are popping up and passes aren't crisp, it makes it so much harder to do just about everything. It makes it harder to keep possession because you have to focus first on taking a touch that gets the ball onto the ground, and then you have to think about what you're going to do next, and by that time the defender has already closed you down. It was killing any type of chances that both teams were creating. They just couldn't keep the ball on the ground. They couldn't keep their passes crisp. There's no methodical play from either sides, and both teams were just trying to figure each other out in the first half. In the second half, the Reign made some subs that significantly changed the game, and they were able to take advantage of the fact that the Utah Royals were exhausted from defending in their three-back system. Their outside backs were tired, and so the Reign were able to possess the ball within the midfield, played it wide to Momiki, who took a fantastic first touch that set her up to be able to just whip the ball in. That cross was literally perfect. It went straight to Balser, who just deflected it, redirected it back in. It was just a fantastic team build-up, and it was definitely one of the goals that you could see brought a lot of relief to this side. You could see how much it meant to the players and the way they celebrated. This is the performance I was expecting to see from the Reign coming into this tournament, and it just took them a little longer than we expected for them to sort of work their way into the tournament. But I think this was just a great team performance from them as a whole. Although I don't think they capitalized on as many opportunities as they should have, they definitely got the result that they wanted to get in this game. They played their last game against the Portland Thorns, and they tied 0-0. They came out in a 4-5-1 formation with Michelle Betos, Stephanie Cox, Lauren Barnes, Amber Brooks, Celia, Allie Long, Bethany Balser, Rebecca Quinn, Danny Weatherholt, Sophia Huerta, and Jody Taylor all in the starting lineup. They were absolutely dominated by Portland in this game. You could really see that Portland was trying to get a result. Although both teams were tied with 4 shots on target, Portland had 29 crosses compared to the Reign's 11. Although Portland was really strong in the way they attacked, there were a lot of moments where they were very iffy defensively, and the Reign were able to generate some opportunities to score. I feel like the Reign definitely could have won this game if Taylor Smith would have put her opportunity away. The Reign definitely had opportunities to score, but Portland just was able to hold on, and vice versa, in the way that I feel like the Thorns definitely should have scored on the Reign, but they were able to hold on as well. And it just ended up in a stalemate because both teams couldn't find the back of the net. I don't like this result for the Reign, mainly because, yes, they had chances to score, but they were totally being forced to change the way they played based on the way Portland was playing. They fell into Portland's game plan. I don't like the 4-5-1 formation. To me, that portrays more of a defensive type formation, and it leaves a lone striker up top to have to do a lot of the work. And if your midfielders can't get up in time and to join into the attack, your attack dies because Jodie Taylor doesn't have any options to pass to. I think a 4-3-3 formation could have been better for them. I think we need to see Jodie Taylor and Balser up top. I don't think Balser is a midfielder, and I just think in general the 4-5-1 was not helping them in terms of their offensive abilities. In a way, I feel like it was more prohibiting them from going forward and allowing Portland to keep the possession in their half because they couldn't get numbers up in time. Although the Reign's defense was able to hold on throughout this game, it definitely wasn't a very convincing tie, in my opinion. I think the Reign were lucky to get out of this game with a 0-0 tie. I think the Reign need to find a different formation. I really don't like when they play a 4-5-1. I do like when they play a 4-3-3. That's much better. It gives them more options going forward, and I don't think that their midfield needs help in terms of numbers defensively. And I don't like Balser being played wide because I don't feel like it utilizes her to the best of her abilities. And I just think in general, she doesn't need to be back doing the defensive work. I think she needs to be up top. Based on the personnel they have, I was expecting them to be much better. But again, it really doesn't matter who you have if you aren't on the same page in terms of the chemistry and the team goal and just the overall game plan. It's not going to be productive, and I just feel like we haven't seen them really come out and be strong in terms of that. We haven't seen them be strong as a unit, and until I see that from them, I can't say with confidence that I think they're going to go far in this tournament. To me, they're too unpredictable. They lose to Houston, but they win against Utah, which is odd, and then they tie Portland, who they completely got dominated by. They're just too up and down for me to say confidently how I think they're going to play. I think with time they can be a really good team, but currently I can't say that I can see them winning this tournament. That's all I have time for today. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below about how the Reign played. Were you impressed with them? Were you underwhelmed by them? Love to hear what you have to say. As always, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.